Did you know? Every 40 seconds, someone in the United States suffers a stroke. That's a frightening pace. But here's the hopeful part. Up to 80% of strokes are preventable. In fact, research shows about 90% of strokes are tied to just 10 modifiable risk factors, many of which boil down to everyday habits. As we get older, stroke risk climbs, doubling roughly every decade after age 55. So it becomes even more crucial after 50 to take a hard look at our lifestyles. Today, we'll walk through 5 common habits that can quietly raise your stroke risk after age 50 and how to avoid them. And be sure to stay with us for a bonus tip at the end, a surprising risk factor you might not expect. Before we dive in, if you find this information helpful, consider subscribing for more health and wellness insights. Let me ask you, how old are you and where are you watching from? Type your age and location in the comments below. I'd love to know who's part of our growing community of health-conscious seniors. Now let's get started on helping you or your loved ones stay stroke-free. Habit 1. Smoking, the smoldering threat. Smoking isn't just bad for your lungs. It's a disaster for your brain and blood vessels. If you're over 50 and still lighting up, it's time for a wake-up call. Studies show that for every 5 cigarettes you smoke per day, your stroke risk goes up by 12%. Over years of smoking, those odds can stack up dangerously. People understand that smoking causes lung cancer, but they don't understand it also damages the brain and blood vessels, warns Dr. Cheryl Bushnell, a stroke neurologist. In fact, smoking accelerates artery clogging and makes your blood more prone to clotting, a perfect storm for stroke. It even raises blood pressure through nicotine. Half of all strokes are linked to high blood pressure, further fueling your stroke risk. And it's not just smokers at risk. Secondhand smoke also harms. If you live with a smoker, your own stroke risk nearly doubles compared to someone who lives in a smoke-free home. That's how toxic tobacco smoke can be for our cardiovascular system. The good news, it's never too late to quit and start healing. The moment you stop smoking, your body begins to recover. Within weeks, circulation improves. Within a couple of years, your stroke risk drops significantly. And after about 5 years of being smoke-free, your risk of stroke can fall to that of a non-smoker, essentially undoing the damage. Dr. Bushnell calls quitting smoking the lowest hanging fruit for stroke prevention because few other changes can so quickly and dramatically cut your risk. So if you smoke, quitting is arguably the single best step you can take to protect your brain. Your future self will thank you, and so will your family. Habit 2. Sedentary lifestyle, sitting your way into trouble. Do you spend hours every day sitting, perhaps at a desk, in front of the TV or behind the wheel? A sedentary lifestyle might feel normal, especially as we hit our 50s and beyond. But long stretches of sitting can quietly raise your stroke risk. Our bodies are meant to move. When we don't, bad things happen in our blood vessels. Research shows that people who are the most physically active have a 25% to 30% lower risk of stroke than those who are the most inactive. In other words, simply moving more means a healthier brain with less risk of a clot or bleed. Regular physical activity helps keep your weight, blood pressure, and cholesterol in check, all key factors in preventing strokes. Think about it. Have you ever felt stiff after sitting too long? That stiffness is a sign your circulation is sluggish. Over years, inactivity contributes to atherosclerosis, clogged, hardened arteries, and increases odds of diabetes and obesity, all of which set the stage for a stroke. Dr. Vladimir Hachinsky, a world-renowned stroke expert, put it bluntly, the worst thing that can happen is to sit all day. Walking is the best exercise there is. Get up and walk around. You don't need to start running marathons or hitting the gym for 2 hours a day. Even light activity helps. The evidence for physical activity is undeniable, Dr. Bushnell says, even just moving around for 10 minutes every hour is better than sitting for an extended period of time. You don't have to run a 5K. Small habits like taking short walking breaks, gardening, or doing a bit of housework can get your blood flowing. Every bit of movement counts. If you have a desk job, try standing and stretching every hour. If you're retired and find yourself mostly on the couch, make a routine of daily walks. Start with 10 minutes, then slowly build up. Not only will you strengthen your heart and arteries, but you'll likely feel more energetic and clear-headed. Your goal is to break up those long sitting spells. Remember, it's never too late to get active. Even in your 60s or 70s, becoming more active can improve your blood pressure and reduce stroke risk. So step away from the armchair and get those legs moving. Your brain will reap the rewards. Habit 3, poor diet, feeding the fire. What we put on our plates every day has the power to protect us or harm us. Sadly, many people over 50 still eat diets heavy in processed foods, salty snacks, sugary drinks, and red or processed meats. According to the American Heart Association, a diet high in sodium, trans fats, and added sugars significantly raises blood pressure and cholesterol, the two biggest culprits behind stroke. Here's a startling fact. In one large study published in Stroke Journal, diets high in processed meats increase stroke risk by up to 17%, while diets rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains lowered it. Dr. Walter Willett from Harvard, T.H. Chan School of Public Health, has long emphasized that food is the single strongest lever to improve health. The problem isn't just what's in junk food, it's also what's missing. Processed foods crowd out nutrients your body desperately needs after 50. Potassium, fiber, antioxidants, and healthy fats. These nutrients help relax blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and keep arteries flexible. Without them, your blood becomes thicker, stickier, and more prone to clots. But here's the hopeful part. Shifting to a healthier diet can bring benefits within weeks. A Mediterranean-style diet, rich in olive oil, fish, nuts, vegetables, beans, and whole grains, has been proven in multiple studies to cut stroke risk by as much as 30%. That's huge. Dr. Asim Malhotra, a cardiologist from the UK, puts it simply, what you eat is more powerful than any pill. So what can you do today? Try small swaps. Replace chips with a handful of nuts. Choose whole grain bread over white. Add one extra serving of vegetables to your dinner plate. And cut back on sugary drinks. Even just one soda a day increases stroke risk by about 16%, according to a Harvard study. Your diet doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to steadily shift toward more natural, plant-based whole foods. Your arteries will thank you, and your brain will stay sharper for longer. Quick reminder, if you find this helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Every week, we bring you practical, research-based tips to live longer and healthier. Habit 4, excessive alcohol, the silent saboteur. A glass of wine at dinner, a beer after work. Harmless, right? Maybe not. After 50, your body processes alcohol more slowly, which means even moderate drinking can have stronger effects on your brain and blood vessels. The CDC warns that drinking more than 2 drinks per day for men or 1 for women significantly raises stroke risk. Here's the science. Alcohol raises blood pressure, damages the liver, and can trigger an irregular heartbeat called atrial fibrillation, one of the most powerful stroke risks. In fact, researchers from Cambridge University found that heavy drinkers had a 35% higher chance of stroke compared to light drinkers. Even moderate drinking isn't completely safe. A 2019 study in The Lancet made headlines when it concluded that no level of alcohol consumption is completely safe for brain health. While small amounts may have mild cardiovascular benefits, the risk to the brain often outweighs them. That doesn't mean you can never enjoy a toast again. The key is moderation. Dr. Ralph Sacco, past president of the American Heart Association, advises, if you drink, do so in moderation, and if you don't drink, don't start. For most people, that means no more than 1 drink a day for women and 2 for men, and some experts now push for even lower. A practical tip, try alcohol-free days. Swap that evening glass of wine with sparkling water and lime or herbal tea. Many people over 50 report better sleep, clearer thinking, and more energy after cutting back. The reward? Lower blood pressure, healthier arteries, and a calmer heart rhythm, all vital for preventing stroke. Habit 5. Poor sleep, the overlooked danger. We often think of sleep as downtime, but in truth, it's one of the most active and healing processes for the brain. After 50, many people brush off poor sleep as part of aging, but research shows sleep problems can directly raise your stroke risk. One major culprit is sleep apnea, a condition where breathing repeatedly stops and starts at night. According to the American Academy of Neurology, people with untreated sleep apnea are 2 to 3 times more likely to have a stroke. Why? Each pause in breathing deprives the brain of oxygen, raises blood pressure, and puts massive stress on blood vessels. Even without sleep apnea, consistently getting fewer than 6 hours of sleep can disrupt hormones, raise inflammation, and worsen conditions like diabetes and hypertension. Dr. Matthew Walker, sleep scientist and author of Why We Sleep, explains it clearly. The shorter your sleep, the shorter your lifespan. On the flip side, good sleep is protective. A study in neurology found that adults who slept 7 to 8 hours per night had the lowest risk of stroke compared to those with too little or too much sleep. Yes, even oversleeping, regularly over 9 hours, can be a red flag, often tied to underlying health problems. So, what can you do? Build a bedtime routine, dim lights an hour before bed, avoid caffeine in the afternoon, and keep your room cool and quiet. If your partner notices snoring, gasping, or pauses in your breathing, don't ignore it. Talk to your doctor about a sleep study. Treating sleep apnea with CPAP therapy, for instance, can dramatically reduce stroke risk and improve daily energy. Sleep isn't a luxury, it's brain medicine. Bonus tip: chronic stress, the hidden trigger. We've covered smoking, sitting, diet, alcohol, and sleep. But here's one more hidden factor: stress. Chronic stress pushes your body into a state of constant fight or flight. Your heart rate speeds up, your blood pressure rises, your body pumps out cortisol, a hormone that in high amounts damages arteries and encourages clotting. Over time, stress quietly primes the body for stroke. Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, Nobel Prize winner, found that stress even shortens telomeres, the caps on our DNA that protect against aging. Shorter telomeres are linked to heart disease, stroke, and faster aging. But stress isn't just about what happens to us. It's about how we respond. Meditation, deep breathing, yoga, prayer, and even simple walks outdoors have been shown to calm the nervous system and lower blood pressure. A study from Harvard Medical School found that practicing relaxation techniques daily reduced the need for hypertension medication in some patients. Think of stress like a storm. You can't always stop the rain, but you can carry an umbrella. Building a stress toolkit, journaling, talking with friends, listening to music, or practicing mindfulness helps protect your brain and blood vessels. Conclusion. So let's recap the 5 habits that raise stroke risk after 50: smoking, sedentary lifestyle, poor diet, excessive alcohol, poor sleep, and of course, the bonus habit, chronic stress. Here's the big picture. Strokes are not inevitable. While age is a factor, most stroke risks are lifestyle-driven, and that means you have power. As Dr. David Libeskind from UCLA reminds his patients, every choice you make for your health today can protect your brain tomorrow. If you find this video helpful, please don't forget to like and leave a comment. It really encourages us and also signals to YouTube that our content is valuable. We create videos like this to help you live a healthier life. A lot of research went into making this video to ensure you get accurate and beneficial information. While we couldn't include every detail in the video, all the research sources are linked in the description below for those who want to explore further.